November 5th meeting of the Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety. Roll call. Here. Here. Are there any conflict of interest statements? Approval of the minutes. I don't think anybody had a chance to review them. Correspondence. First item is a bid opening for the 6th District Local Street Project, Maryland Avenue Lighting Improvement, 169th to Vine. First bid is from TGB Unlimited, doing business as ST Bancroft Electric, 25020 State Road 2, South Bend, Indiana. We have a bid bond. Form 96. And a non-collusion affidavit signed.
Perfect.
Their bid is $163,526.08. Next bid is from Midwestern Electric, 1620 East Chicago Avenue, East Chicago, Indiana. They have their Form 96. They have their bid bond. And they have their non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $182,163.75. Final bid is from Hawk Enterprises Incorporated, 1850 East North Street, Crown Point, Indiana. They have their bid bond. They have their Form 96. And they have their non-inclusion affidavit signed. And their bid is $177,142.60. Recommended they be sent to the consultant engineer for tabulation and recommendation.
I'd like to recommend that they be sent to the consultant engineer for tabulation consideration.
I'll concur. Next, we have the project coordination contract with the Indiana Department of Transportation. This is for a portion of the Chicago Avenue project, and we need a recommendation to sign it.
I recommend that we, are we approving it also?
Yeah.
I'd like to recommend that we approve this.
It should be set up.
All those? Okay.
Yeah, so sign the second one. And I'll concur with that recommendation. Next, we have correspondence from St. Mosier, ST. Sergeant. That's what I'm looking at. It's ST period. Sergeant A. Mosier of the Hammond Police Department requesting permission for an auction to be held Friday, December 11, 2015. Auction of various vehicles submitted for approval.
I'd like to recommend that we approve their request for the auction.
And I'll concur. Next, we have correspondence received from Chief of Police John Doty requesting the approval to relinquish specialty pay due to the resignation of Officer Thomas Diller from the K-9 program effective November 5th, and requesting the board's approval of Officer Stuart Hinson being assigned HIDTA and received detective specialty pay as of June 1st, 2015.
I'd like to recommend that we approve Chief Doty's request.
And I'll concur. Next, we have correspondence from Gary Gleason, Director of Public Works, advising of the 90-day trial period for the installation of no parking, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday on 149th Street from Linden West to the alley, per Tri-State Industries request.
I'd like to recommend that we approve Mr. Gleason's request.
And I'll concur. Next, we have an agreed temporary order for property located at 701 and 705 Kane Street submitted for approval.
Good morning, Gary Matthews for the property owner, Alba Pineda, 701, 705 Kane. As I reported last time, 2 weeks ago, were purchased by she and her husband about 20 years ago as 2 units. The city determined that permits were not issued to make them into 2 units. She's been trying to get the prices to either make them safe to use as 2 units or convert them to single family. We've been waiting since May to get those from 2 different contractors, still don't have it, and now we're coming into the winter months. So I talked to Kelly Kearney about a temporary agreement, provided that to them last week. The temporary agreement limits the use of both of the properties only to single-family residents. On 701, there's a stairway that was walled over inside that leads up to the 2nd floor. That will be open so that the single tenant on the 1st floor can also use the 2nd floor, and the kitchen will be removed from the 2nd floor. That's to 705 Kane Street. There's no internal stairway, so the 2nd floor apartment will be blocked off completely. Everything meter-wise will stay the same. Nobody's waiving any position they may have, but this will get us through the winter, and I put in the agreed order that would be on the board's agenda for the first Monday in May. She can get her estimates, hopefully in the spring, determine what needs to be done, and see about getting it resolved then.
Chris, you got anything?
Nope, I agree exactly with everything you said, and that's why I signed it.
I'd like to make a recommendation that we approve this.
And I'll concur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have findings of fact and decision on 1010 Hoffman submitted for approval and acknowledgement of the proposed findings of fact and conclusion of law submitted by Mr. Bosti.
Just for clarification, Mr. President, that's actually 2 issues. This is in regards to the hearing that was held on the 15th. Mr. Vosti did submit findings, and then the board has its own findings, which are separate from that.
I'd like to recommend that we approve our findings. Right?
Yes.
The findings submitted by the city,
Our.
since there's 2 sets. I'll concur. Next is item H, notice of violation hearing for property located at 1167 Sibley.
Morning. We did an interior inspection of the property and we found that there was an unauthorized 2nd floor apartment. Ms. Rodriguez has agreed to deed restriction for the property. They own it, they live there, and they're not using it at the time. And she's already signed the copy, just have it for you guys to finish signing off on. So they fully agree with the restriction, they're not going to use it, they're not going to do anything.
Okay.
We're just asking that the board please sign the deed restriction.
And are we approving it, or just, what are we doing, Chris?
It's a deed restriction.
No, I mean, do we just approve it, or we just say, okay, we're gonna sign
I
it?
would say acknowledge it, because what happens is once it's signed by both the city and the property owner, we record it on the property. It's just a future notice to any other purchasers of how the property is restricted.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve it and sign this.
And I'll concur.
Thank you. That's it.
Next, we have a notice of violation hearing for property located at 4245 Wabash.
Sorry. They understand what we're doing. This is a single-family home. It was inspected and found to contain illegal non-conforming cellar and attic bedrooms. The property is currently vacant and up for sale by the current owner. You know, they understand, that the use of these rooms were not permitted by them. Essentially, they explained the tenant had installed them. They have no problem removing them or, having it a part of their sale contract, which notifies the new purchaser of the property what the city is requiring. So this time I ask that the board affirm the removal of these bedrooms and then sign the findings and orders so it can be recorded that this property cannot be occupied, the cellar and attic bedrooms cannot be occupied. The owner is aware of what we're requesting and is willing to comply with our request.
I'd like to recommend that we approve their findings.
And I'll concur.
Thank you.
Item J, rental registration hearing for property located at 1007 177th Place and 1336 Indiana Street. Could you please state your name, sir?
Francisco Contreras,
You own both properties?
yes.
What year, Chris? This year?
Are they both single family?
Yes.
Yes, they both appear to be single family. It looks like he owes for 14 and 15. And the one property at 107 177th Place, is there a problem with the garbage in the alley?
No, I cleaned it up, everything. They told me to clean and I cleaned. I took the guy that was living there and leave a furniture and stuff like that in the alley. So, but everything is gone now.
How long was it there before you picked it up?
How long? As soon they told me I did. They take
Who's,
stuff,
who's they? Who?
inspector, somebody called me from the city. They told me to put everything in garbage, in
Okay.
garbage bags.
So this person moved out of the house?
Yeah.
When did he move out?
And July.
And when did you go clean it up?
Hold on.
September, apparently.
Okay, so
hold
that-
on, hold on. I didn't move in July. It moved in, I forgot.
Okay, so my question,
Or something like that. It was like 1 month.
okay, so here's my question. Your property that you own, you didn't go buy it for a whole month that this guy was gone, and that's why they finally called you to tell you to come pick up the garbage.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
it was, and you live in Hammond?
I live in Hammond since 1998.
Okay, that's good, because you only live about a mile or two away. Our problem is that if the garbage stayed in the alley for over a month, and you didn't bother to go by to check out the property, even after the guy left.
No,
Am I right?
No, I called the city. I didn't know what exactly to do. They just put the garbage in the alley. I expect the city pick it up or something.
They're gonna pick it up if it's in the garbage can. They're not gonna pick it up if it's all over the alley.
No, I mean, it was furniture and stuff like that. And when they took the furniture, they just left some, whatever, there.
What about Indiana, Chris?
I don't have any issues with that one. However, he does owe for both 14 and 15 on both properties.
How long have you owned the properties, both of them?
I think since 2005.
Both of them? You
Yes.
bought both in 2005, so...
No, Indiana, it was like a year before, 2004. And the
So
other
you've
one,
had 'em-
2005.
11 or 12 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And you registered them all the other years, just?
I used to do it, but 2 years ago, I didn't get any notice or something. I totally forgot about it. There was the problem.
Well, we did send notices out for 15. There were no notices sent for 14, but we did send notices for 15.
I didn't get it, and I didn't move.
Well, you've had it for 11 years and 12, so it's like kind of paying taxes. They don't send you a notice to pay your taxes on April 15th either.
Yeah, just threw it.
What do you want to do with this one?
I'm thinking.
Is this his first time before the board?
I don't have any notes that he's ever been before the board, correct?
Okay, Indiana, is that a single family?
Single family,
I
yeah.
have them both being one unit.
Okay. I'd like to recommend that we assess the $80 fee for 14, the $5 fee for 15, and waive the late fee.
On both properties, right?
Yeah.
I'll concur with your recommendation.
So the total will be 170, Chris? Is that my math?
Correct, yeah.
170?
80 twice over and plus 10. He's gotta register within 30 days or the
30 days.
appeal is denied.
Okay. Hey, and 1007, 70 Street, I didn't rent it. I gonna rent it, so how I gonna register? I need to put the name of the tenant, right?
Well, he can fill out the affidavit that it's vacant, but as soon as it's,
Oh, okay.
as soon as he gets a tenant, he's gotta come back in. So if it's just easier to register, he knows who the tenant's gonna be.
Oh, okay.
So you got 30 days, it's $170, you gotta pay it within 30 days. The meeting will be over in a few minutes, you can pay it today if you'd like. If not, we'll send you something in the mail, and you got 30 days to come back.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to concur with your motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a rental registration hearing on property located at 4907 Hickory and 4903 Hickory.
All right, now, Mr. President, on this one, he's previously been before the board on an appeal, and then he didn't register for 50.
My name is Roberto Guzman. On January of this year, both of the properties were empty, so I didn't register in April because they were still empty. And the only one that I registered, I think like 2 months ago, a month ago, was one, and the other one, they didn't allow me to register.
Okay, so you live at 4903,
Yes,
so that's a 2-unit, but you live in one of them?
yes.
And then,
Sir, that's a 3-unit. We did an inspection on it about 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
okay, is it a 2-unit or a 3-unit?
It was 3 units, but when they did inspection, with the notice they left, I follow it, so right now they're empty.
Okay, but that doesn't solve the problem, it's still a
They
3-unit.
They were empty.
I understand what you're saying, but if you decide to get it rented, are you gonna rent out the other 2 units and you're gonna
I
live
have
in
no
one?
permission from the city to rent at this time.
But doesn't it have to be,
It still was supposed to be registered. He had 2 separate units upstairs that were both being rented at the time of the inspection.
well, when you guys inspected it, there was
Yes.
people living there?
Yes,
This year?
yes.
So there was people living in it this year?
Yes, that I registered one.
Okay, but there was two units registered.
The other one was.
The one you live in and the
I
other
have-
2 units were occupied?
Yes.
I have one that I registered, the other one, they didn't let me register.
But what I'm saying is, the other 2 units were being lived in,
Yes.
so you needed to register. When you registered the one, why didn't you
I'm
register?
aware of that. I failed to do that, that's why they sent me.
So you came here to register one and just didn't do the other one?
I did, I have the paper, all the papers, and they say you have to go to the board and appeal this, so that's what I did.
Mr. President, I do have a problem with this because in 2014, in August, he came in front of the Board of Works and asked for an appeal and registered 2 units. So that means he had that 3rd unit. Is it a 3rd unit? Was he renting it? I mean, he was renting 2 units in 2014.
I was, one of my relatives was living in there at the time.
Were you collecting rent?
No,
I'm confused.
No, what I'm saying is, when you have a 3rd unit that he's been renting but never registered.
Well, that's what he said, but that's
He
wrong.
said he had a relative living in it.
The city wasn't aware of that 3rd unit until we went and inspected.
So then he would have had to have filed an affidavit for that he was renting to a relative.
and I have
Rent
that
free.
last year.
The affidavit?
I did that last year when I came here.
Chris, you have, was there an affidavit signed before?
No, that's the issue. He came in front of the Board of Works, he had never registered for 2011 and 2014, so they made him pay the $80 for 11 through 13 and $580 for 14, for a total of $1140. So there was nothing about an affidavit, he had never registered.
I have 3 stickers. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them here, but I have 3 stickers from last year that you guys give me when I pay.
Is the 3rd unit legal? Is it safe?
But when we mark it inhabitable, then he's gotta remove everything, right?
Yeah, well, the board works filed to get started. This is for having it rented
Prior, yes.
to.
But Rich just said they went and inspected it, and there was, those other 2 units were being occupied.
Right.
And they
That was-
both need to be registered. Even if they're illegal units, they still have to be registered because registration does not equal legality.
No, I understand that.
It won't be required for them for 2016, the illegal units will be going to have it removed. So that their department will not be required to be registered next year because he will not be allowed to rent it.
No, 4907 is a single unit.
So, okay, let's go back to, okay, let's get on 4907 real quick. How many years? 2 years, Chris?
No, just, he didn't register for 15.
15 for 4, okay, so that's,
But he had an appeal for 14 already granted.
okay.
So what do you want to do?
I don't know. It's like Bizarro World. All right, so you live in 1B.
Yes,
Right now, nobody lives in the other 2 units?
no,
When did they move out?
10 days after those guys put sign.
January? So there was people living in the, hold on a minute. So there were people living in the building
Yes.
during the month of January?
No, they only been there for a month and a half.
How about February? Were they living there in February?
No.
So this year, nobody's lived in any of those
Yes,
units?
they were from like 2 months ago. They moved out like a month ago.
So you're talking, so in 2015, there's been people living in there?
For a month and a half.
I don't care if it was one day. There was people living in there.
Yes.
Okay, that's good enough. So 4907 is only for 15, Chris, but 4903 is for
It's also for 15.
just 15.
He previously got an appeal on his previous non-rental last year.
Okay, so my math has been $15 just for the rental registration for both,
Correct,
two at 03 and then one at 07. Right?
correct.
So what's your recommendation?
Hold on, I'm writing it up now.
Oh, okay. Why would you write it up before I concur?
Because you're gonna,
It's complicated.
it is. Where's Heather? I'd like to recommend that all the units have to be registered at the $5 per unit, but assess a $500 late fee.
So you're recommending that they all be paid up plus one penalty?
That's what I said.
Okay, I'll concur with that recommendation.
All right, you have 30 days, sir.
I got a question though. So since
You
these
owe
people,
$515.
since they're, according to what the inspector told me, they were not enabled, so everybody's moved out. I'm not gonna rent those no more. In fact, I'm probably gonna leave just the whole property myself.
Well, you had rented them this year, so because you.
But I only rent for a month and a half, so I don't think I would like
Yeah, we don't prorate it
One 500.
for next year.
I thought I would be there.
Okay, let's move on to item L, rental registration hearing for property located at 6739 Waveland.
So where would I go?
5:15, have a seat if you want, she'll give you after the meeting. 5:20. So it's for you.
Please state your name for the record, ma'am.
My name is Monica Di Lorenzo.
How many units are in this building?
I'm sorry,
How many units are in this building?
it's a single home.
Okay.
All right, now, Mr. President, I don't have her being the owner, are you the property manager?
No,
I have the owner being Marion Siegfried, or Siegfried Marion.
there's my title.
How long have you owned the property, ma'am?
I've owned the property for 30 years. I've been co-owner of the property for 30 years. I started to rent it out in 2011, and I paid for the fee for 2011, and had it in the window. Early in 2012, in January of 2012, I was injured at work. I had 9 operations, and I am just been approved for disability. At that time, for those 4 years, I had people paying my bills for me that were helping me out. They never received a bill I never received any kind of a bill stating it was due, and to be honest with you, I would have paid the bill. I was too sick, and I was worried about other things. I have no problem paying the back rental licensing fees, but I don't think I should be charged a 4-year fine when I never received a bill.
Well, the bill, Chris, help me out.
I'm hard of hearing, sir.
The bill for this year came on the water bill. There was a notice on your water bill, 2015?
The problem is that we don't have her being the owner. What is your address? Are you on 6915 Knickerbocker?
Yes?
Okay, well, that's what the notices would have went. You didn't get a notice?
I didn't get any notices whatsoever. And in fact, when I talked with Mr. Carney, he said I wouldn't have gotten a notice.
Who's the other person that Chris has that name? Do you know that other person?
Marion Siegfried?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, she was my roommate and co-owner of the house
Okay,
for 25 years.
so, well, I don't know if the,
She now lives in Cleveland. I have the
So
title.
did she
insurance
sell you,
company.
so did she sell you her interest in it, or is she still a part owner?
She's relinquishing her rights by setting up a deed. We did a quitclaim deed, but Lake County said that it wasn't, I didn't list there was something missing on it, so I have to redo it.
all right.
I'm more than willing to pay the licensing fees.
How many years are we here for, Chris?
11, no, since 2011. So 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
I paid for 2011. Mr. Carney told me that he had no record that I was in any way affiliated with the house or that it was any way rental. But when my tenant left his dog outside, they called my house and I had someone go over and check on the dog and make sure the dog was taken care of.
Chris, you got any problems at the house?
No, actually, it's probably been pretty quiet other than that dog issue, otherwise somebody would have noticed.
Okay,
The dog is gone now, those tenants are gone.
all right. Ma'am, just so you know, I mean, well, this year, water department didn't send them out this year, right, Chris? Or Chris, it came
I'm
from,
sorry, I
came
can't.
from Kevin's office,
Yes,
right?
we mailed cards this year, we mailed cards in 13, we mailed cards in 12.
Okay, no, I'm just saying this year I said water department, but it was actually.
Yeah, who gets the water bill, ma'am?
I get the water bill.
Okay, so then you got the notice for this year.
Well, no, sir, I didn't get a notice. If I would have gotten a notice, the people who were helping me would have written a check to pay the bill. I was too sick,
I
otherwise
understand.
it would have been paid.
This year, the letter came from an attorney. Last year, it was on your water bill. So if you get the water bill to your house for this
I get the
property.
water bills at my house, yes, sir.
Okay, what I'm telling you is, the notice came on the water bill. It wasn't a separate piece, it was on there. It was typed on the water bill. So you did get the notice in 2014.
Well,
This-
but sir, what I'm trying to explain is that I wasn't reading the bills, I was sick.
Okay,
And
I
the
got that.
people who were taking care of the bills either didn't notice, didn't see it, or I never knew that the notice for that came in the water bill. When you pay your license fee for your alarm, it comes in the mail on a separate bill.
Well, that's what happened this year in 15.
Well, I didn't get that, sir.
And just to clarify, it's not a bill that you write a check for, you have to come in.
No
submit a registration, you have to fill out information, the insurance information, tenant information, so it's not something they can just write a check for.
And I honestly didn't know that, because right after I began to rent the house and paid for my first rental application, I got sick, I got hurt on the job.
Okay, I understand.
I would have paid the bills, I paid all the proper taxes. This was a mistake caused by an illness.
I understand. I just want you to know from now on, you will get some type of notice. It's not a bill like he said where you make out a payment and send it back. But there will be a
Okay.
notice, and just kind of remember that by April 15th, you
Yes,
have to
sir.
pay. I'd like to make a recommendation that we assess the $80 late fee for 4 years, one $5 fee for 1 year, so $335 and waive the late fee.
I'll concur. Thank you.
How much do I owe?
$335.
Thank you, and who do I pay this to?
You can wait till after the meeting, and she'll get you the paperwork, and you can pay it today, or we'll mail it to you, and you got 30 days to pay it.
Thank you
But
very much.
we need to get your mailing address, right?
We got
Because
it.
we don't have it?
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, we got it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we move to item M, rental registration hearing for property located at 3335 175th Place. There's somebody here from 3335 175th Place.
Ronald Sutton?
All right, Mr. President, they have it registered for 13 through 15. I believe it is one unit. I'm not really sure. All right, I would ask that you deny the appeal because no one comes.
You want to make that motion?
Stanley, I'm writing.
I have to keep in a meeting moving.
I'd like to recommend that we assess the two $80 fees for 160, one $5 fee for 5, for a total of 165, plus a $500 late fee for $665.
I'll concur. We move to item N, rental registration hearing for property located at 7110 Kennedy. There's somebody here for 7110 Kennedy.
Perillo?
All right, Mr. President, I have that this is a one unit, and they are not registered for 14 or 15. Based on the fact that nobody appears, and ask you to deny the appeal.
I'd like to recommend that we assess the late fee for one $500 late fee plus an $80 registration fee and a $5 registration fee for $585.
And I'll concur. Move down to item O, agreement to rehabilitate property located at 27 Elizabeth, submitted for approval.
Mr. President, if you'll recall, this was a demolition property, and the property owner has expressed an interest in making repairs, and I would just ask the board to please approve this rehabilitation agreement for this demolition property.
I'd like to recommend that we approve it.
And I'll concur. Next, we have an order regarding the abandonment of animal located in Hammond, submitted for approval. What kind of animal?
This is it's a bit unusual. There was an animal that is not permitted to be in Hammond, located wandering around Michigan and Indianapolis Boulevard.
Would you describe that animal?
It is a pony. There was a pony wandering around.
Are we sure it was a pony, not a large dog?
No, it was a pony. The problem is the pony required medical care. The pony was a very sick pony, which is unfortunately due to the inbreeding in order to maintain the small size of ponies. So the pony required medical care and boarding. The city took it for medical care and boarding. No person has come forward claiming this pony. The individual who has provided the medical care and boarding has said that they would be willing to waive the fees, just surrender the pony to them because they can better take care of it. So I would just ask the board to declare it abandoned. We are well beyond the period of time where we consider an animal abandoned, and in lieu of the payment, we would just tender over an order saying that the pony belongs to the person who's provided the care and medical attention.
I'd like to recommend what she just said.
And I'll concur.
It's on tape.
Next, we have a disposal authorization submitted for approval.
I'd like to recommend that we approve those.
And next, we have garage sale permits submitted for approval.
I'd like to recommend that we approve both of them.
And I'll concur. And then we have correspondence received from Lakewood Design requesting permission to place storage of the dumpster and tool trailer during construction on the north side of Little Caesars at Wildwood Road and Holman Avenue, starting November 5th for 6 weeks. Is this going to be on their property? They don't want to put it on the street, do they?
Use the parallel parking spaces, north side of Little Caesars the parallel ones are.
Yeah, so that's on the street.
Yeah,
But those are parking stalls then.
but the parallel ones, aren't they by the printing store? Is there parallel parking by Little Caesars too?
I don't know. Yeah, it's angle parking.
Oh, they wanna, the only problem is with the parallel parking on the north side?
Are they going to fix Little Caesars? I mean, I think that's the bigger issue.
Yeah, they are. I got a call the other day that they're looking at totally redoing that place.
We already have. It's not a
Yeah.
mess.
do you know anything about this, Gary?
Well, you know why the way the street is, when you turn off Holman, it kind of cuts over like this and goes.
Right.
They're wanting to put it right on the street, right alongside the building, so it's not actually in the street, you can parallel park on that side like you can.
It's in a parking stall,
It's on a stall more than,
Okay.
more than in the street.
I'd like to recommend that we approve that.
and I'll concur. Next, we have an agreement to rehabilitate property located at 4248 Wabash, submitted for approval.
I know. Mr. President, if you'll recall, there were two properties on this lot, 4246 and 4248. We've already received the rehab agreement for 4246. This is the second piece, 4248. We do have a real tight time schedule, and we have required a bond, so we'll just see what happens.
I'd like to recommend that we approve that.
And I'll concur. Do we have any matters from other board members?
I have one.
Oh, there,
What?
oh, yes.
Oh,
He's going to do his first.
Councilwoman Venez has requested about a turn light on Calumet Avenue and 171st. After observing the increased truck traffic on Calumet Avenue as a result of Klein Avenue rerouting, I believe a turn light at 69th Street would be in order as well. Isn't there a turn lane there now?
There's a turn lane, but there's no turn arrow, correct?
Okay.
They would have to do a warrant study. If there's consistently more than two vehicles making the turn, then it might be warranted. We can send a letter to NDOT. Both of these turn lanes would be on Calumet, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, so we would have to request NDOT do the warrant study, just like we have Gary do it for our streets, to show that there's enough traffic to warrant doing it. So we can do a letter and send it to them.
Well, I was told to do the letter,
Yeah.
so that's why I did.
Okay,
I'd like to recommend that we send that to NDOT.
and I'll concur. Next, we have an item, Chris, did you want to talk about this?
This is for the demolition, is it 4503? 4503 or 4305? I can, it's Old Mill.
4503.
Okay, I was right the first time. 4503 Holman is Milski's, and we ordered it demolished back in April. We've been having problems with the demolition contractor, and so I sent him a letter October 7th saying, if you don't accomplish this, what you bid, by the end of October, we're going to go with the next lowest bidder. Here it is November the 5th, and he has not accomplished it, so we're going to award it to the next lowest bidder and rescind his award.
I'd like to recommend that we award the bid to J&M.
And I'll concur. Matters from other department heads or their representatives. I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Janet Venez in the audience, which I should have did at the beginning of the meeting. Do we have any new business? Any old business? Meeting's open to the public. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to? Yes, ma'am. Step up to the microphone and state your name for the record.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Melissa Benavides, and I didn't want to get flustered, so I wrote what I'm going to say, what I'm going to ask for. I was told to come today to this part of the meeting and wait for this part of the meeting, or come back next month and get on the agenda. So back in May, I appeared before the Board of Public Works to request that a late fee be waived for not having a rental sticker on my Hammond home. It was waived. I went downstairs to pay, but I encountered a pretty long line, and I was working. Right now I'm working at the Hammond ACCU, but I was working at a job that I would have gotten in trouble if I was late, so I left. Completely lost, forgot about it, forgot everything. I do everything online banking, so unless I get an alert on my phone, I forget about it. So unfortunately, I take full responsibility for my forgetfulness, and I understand that you guys were kind enough to waive last May, the fee, and I was just begging for another opportunity to have the fee waived and go downstairs immediately and pay the $80 fee. And I did get the letter saying that it was, I did have the late fee.
Do you have the paperwork on it with you?
The application fee, or the application form?
Yeah, the
No,
actual.
I can fill that one out downstairs, but I can, I mean, it's, I had the sticker last year, I just didn't do it this year. I have the letter that it was late. I have that one.
But it's beyond the 30 days, right?
Right, that's why the letter came and said, okay, now you gotta pay the late fee.
So typically, when we waive them, there's usually, because Chris would get a history of your property.
Right,
And we would have go through this.
And it
a
was
lot
all
of-
a new renter, so we went through it the last time, and it was a brand-new renter, and.
It was
there were
May, and
problems.
I don't remember what happened Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
last Thursday. So, is there a problem with you coming back next Thursday?
No.
Because I'd rather find out, we need the address and everything to find out. Chris,
The
am I
only thing
wrong in
she-
saying if there's a history?
9213 Southmore. The only thing she had on it last time was. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my current address.
All she wants to do is
7230
amp 30 days.
McCook
You
Avenue.
want to let her do that.
I was giving you my home
Because
address.
we,
30 McCook Avenue. Mhm.
the penalty was, we probably should just let her pay it and tell her never.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, no, I didn't know Chris.
The only thing she had on it
I'm
originally.
gonna change my mind about you coming back.
Okay. The only thing she found on it the first time around was the old renters always had police there because of domestic disputes. They are gone, and there's a brand-new renter there who is pretty good.
I'd like to recommend that we go ahead and let her waive the late fee and just let her pay the registration. That's my recommendation.
And I'll concur.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to come up to the microphone? If not,
Motion to adjourn.
and
I'd
I'll
like to
concur.
recommend we adjourn.
And I'll concur.